Everybody, welcome to this episode of Coffee with John. I'm looking forward to talking with Michael Weinberger. Michael, it's great to see you, CEO of Proactive Technology Management. We're going to be talking a lot about AI today, a lot of technology, a lot of AI. If someone were to go to your website, proactivemgmt.com, one of the things that they will see on there is that it says we're a group of IT guys trying to solve IT problems. I want to start there. Because I think sometimes people try to fall in love with the solutions. They try to fall in love with the tools. They don't necessarily fall in love with the problem, and that's a problem because they throw things on top of things, and sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it does. More times than not, it doesn't if you haven't gotten to the root problem. And so talk a little bit about how you help people get to the real problem.
Absolutely. So, John, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
we have this unique AI jumpstart process, which is really focused around a discussion about what is actually the business facing, what are the pain points the organization has, right? If you were to try and build a house, you wouldn't just show up with a bunch of hammers if you didn't know you were using wood to put the house together, right? You would want to evaluate, maybe you're building a grass hut in your backyard and hammers are completely the wrong tool. It's the same thing with AI. It's the same thing with technology. If you don't understand what your biggest problem is it people? Is it process? Is it too many systems, right? Is it an overinvestment in single systems that are never going to work, and you're stuck into this the paradox that you've already spent so much money, you're going to earn it back if you continue to spend so much money. Businesses don't have that perspective. What we try to do is rather than show up and say it's ChatGPT, it's Copilot, it's Claude, it's Cowork, it's Gemini. We just want to understand, is finance having a problem getting transactions into their system? Do you have 4 systems that do finance, right? Do you have trouble closing your end of month books, for example? Does your business development team have to rekey leads into 3 systems in order to process an invoice, right? We want to understand what is the exact problem the business faces so we can then address what type of technology is going to solve that problem for them.
So if I'm listening right now and having coffee with us, I may be more confused than I was when I pressed play. And so rewind kind of some fundamental ways of compartmentalizing elements of the business on where to start. You talked about problems that businesses are facing, pain points. How do they determine what the most important one is, where maybe a company like yours, for example, can get started, be an entry point, right? So just simplify step 1 and then what step 2 and step 3 looks like when somebody like you comes in to really, do a discovery in a landscape audit. And then I think the hardest part for people is, where do I start?
Sure. So if you were to look at your business, you would want to look at processes or positions that have extremely high turnover.
Okay.
You would want to look at, go ahead, John.
So we're talking, turnover. So you're keying into something very important: retention, of internal people and retention of current clients. So I just want to kind of spell that out.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Go on.
We're also looking at single points of failure. Do you have a single employee that is critical to a process that keeps the business running?
Mm-hmm. So meaning if that person quits tomorrow, things fall down.
Right. So you have a person that is responsible for sending out all of your client invoices, and that person doesn't show up tomorrow. How do your invoices get done?
Right.
Right.
And I
Those,
guess also, and again, I'm not suggesting this to put that person out of a job, and maybe there's a different seat for that person, a higher level strategy position for that person. But I think it's also looking at the roles of where AI is going to be speeding things up. I don't like necessarily talking about AI as a replacement of things. To me, I want companies looking at it as how can this help you do things faster? If I have somebody who's within the walls of a company that has been there a long time and holds a lot of intellectual capital, just because I can replace their job with AI doesn't mean I want to get rid of them. I want to find a new seat for them. And so I just want to kind of talk on that for a minute, because what are you seeing in companies when you come in and say, hey, in the example you just gave, AI can, take 80% of that off of the plate. What do you suggest they do with that person?
great question and great observation.
Yeah.
I think how people have to look at AI is as a force multiplier.
Yeah.
Right. It's not the elimination of a job. It's the elevation of staff to higher and better use of their time.
Yeah.
So even with my own organization,
I just want to comment on that. I'm sorry to keep on interrupting you, but I think these are really some good nuggets. The highest priority of their time, meaning companies, there's a lot of things companies want, but companies really want to increase revenue, increase profitability, and decrease expenses, right? And then can I get more value out of a person? Meaning if somebody is doing, just for the sake of this discussion, Michael, $10 an hour work,
yes,
may I replace them, and can I move them to do $15, $20, $50 an hour work that uses the I'm going to just keep on using the word intellectual capital that they have, received over the last 1, 3, 5, 10 plus years that they've been in the business. And where can that person now be, to your point, a force multiplier? Because I agree, to bring more revenue faster into the door. Doesn't mean to speed things up and not dot I's and cross T's, but they're coming to the table now with a potentially higher skill set in a higher producing revenue per hour role.
Right. So if we walk through a very routine process, and it touches on 2 points you raised. One, how do we decrease cost? But two, how do we drive revenue?
Right.
The thing that ties that all together is not only how do we drive revenue up, how do we shorten the amount of time cash sits out there?
Right.
Right. How can we get cash in the door faster?
Right.
And so any finance department is going to look at it like this. And let's just use my business as an example. My controller is responsible for 2,000 plus invoices being sent out every month, right? Without AI, she has an instinct and a gut on who to follow up with, on when people are going to pay. So she knows every week who she should be chasing down. She's not able to delegate that task because she has that carnal knowledge.
Yeah.
We implemented some AI that provided insights on payment patterns of customers, and she was able to expand her department. So we're not cutting costs yet, right? I'm actually increasing costs to accelerate cash in the door.
Right.
Well, if all of a sudden my time to cash goes from 45 days to 30 days, my business is healthier. And the amount of time she was spending doing that chasing allows her to now send more invoices.
Right.
Right. So now the rest of the team is responsible for finding more work. But I just found a 25, 30% capacity in a function that drives the business by implementing some AI reporting and analytics to allow us to expand the department, accelerate cash in the door, and now have better insights provided by our controller to look at patterns and trends to see where we should be spending our time. And so that's an example of AI put to use.
That's a great example. I just want to kind of dive into something you said, something you found. And I think that is I don't want people to gloss over that word, because when somebody like you, and frankly, somebody like me, a business coach, goes into a company, we begin to find things that are hidden in plain sight to us, not to them, not to the people that are that are, in the day to day, seeing kind of the same thing. We raise a level of awareness to find things, to find areas, to take away the fear. I was talking to a client this morning, and a new person within the company. And one of the things I pointed out to them is, you haven't done a post on LinkedIn in 5 months. Mm-hmm. That's a big miss. That's a big miss. You have a large organization and nobody was paying attention to that. I could give multiple examples but sometimes you need somebody to point out the obvious. And I think right now people, this is airing in May 2026. And I would say that I'm in a lot of businesses, and I would say that a lot of people up until about 3 months ago, and specifically maybe 30 days ago, felt like they had time on how to implement AI into their business. I think Claude changed that recently with kind of giving Claude Coworker, Claude Pro, which includes Coworker and Code, to the masses. And now it changed the game. I think it accelerated things very, very quickly. And so I think it's really important to come in and have somebody to find certain things and to provide insights and direction, like your last story. So my next question leads to this. Where are 1, 2, or 3 more areas that people are missing in their businesses right now, where they're kind of obvious, they just can't see it?
So I think that people are not using AI as a thought partner. Okay. I think people believe that AI is going to solve automation problems or solve large process problems. If every executive was taught to use and prompt AI properly, they could use it as a thought partner to not only decrease times for preparing for meetings and strategy sessions. They could accelerate how they can respond to customer requests and proposals and business development faster. They could identify target markets and how their product might be positioned. And it's really just having somebody ask you an interview yourself. Right. AI can be used that way to identify opportunities. Again, within my own business, it used to take me days to turn around a proposal. I would have a lot of brain time and keyboard time to think about how to propose a solution, how to architect and engineer a solution. By building agents that can help me, I've turned my turnaround time from days to almost minutes. Within 30 minutes, I now have a thoughtful piece that is written based on the solutions I know my company provides in a bulletproof and thoughtful way. And I can get that out the door faster. So I think people need to think about AI as a thought partner, as kind of a member of the team to help elevate me. I don't need AI to think about how I'm going to grow my business better or faster. I just need somebody to bounce ideas off of that I might not be ready to socialize with the whole team. And that's another use that I think I'm addressing for you.
So one of the things I see people having an obstacle with are prompting, how to talk to an AI bot, how to ask it questions. There seems to be a blockage there. And again, one could then say, well, then just ask chat how you should ask it questions. But how do you think people get over that? I just gave us a potential solution, but how do people get over the prompting and the continual prompting to get what they want?
Absolutely. So, I think people are at the zero shot prompting level. And what that means is, if you think about it, you're walking into an auditorium filled with 1,000 people and you're shouting out a question you have, and you're probably going to get, varied responses from half the audience. But you're going to have a difficult time discerning what is true and what is false. What do I have to chase down? The second level that you raised is more of what's called meta prompting, where you say, before you walk into the auditorium, help me ask this question as intelligently and as well formatted as I can to increase the odds that I'm going to get the right answer on the first try.
Yeah.
Now you're getting a totally different experience. Well, the third level that you alluded to but didn't take us to is the reverse meta prompting.
Yeah.
Where now you've gotten an answer from a large language model, and you now say, how could I have gotten here faster?
Yeah.
And people never think to ask that. You would never ask an employee, hey, guys, it took me a week to explain how to create a proposal. What could I have said to you to make you create that in a day?
Yeah.
But the computer, you have to think about differently. They're not offended by things.
Right.
So you have to say, how can I get there faster?
Yeah.
You will start to learn the thought process of talking to an LLM.
Yeah.
Another thing to realize and think about, every LLM has its strengths and weaknesses, right? So you don't think that Claude solves all your problems.
Right.
Using ChatGPT or Grok or Gemini are going to get you different results.
Yeah.
And so what you could do is you can go to ChatGPT and say, I need help prompting Claude for this desired outcome. And then you take the prompt that ChatGPT created and you copy and paste it into Claude. And all of a sudden, you're coming in at a PhD level engagement with Claude rather than an elementary engagement. So there's different ways to, not only do you ask the tool itself how they can help you, you can go out and experiment on your own. Ask each tool what tool they think is best to solve the nature of the problem you have, and they will recommend different platforms.
Yeah. So I love that. Something I do is two things I want to share. I ask Claude and Chat about 2-3 times a week, what's one thing I can do faster in my business? What's specifically using my computer, right? And so it gives me tools to use my computer faster, and it saves me a ton of time. And I think it's great. And then also just kind of what I'll also use the two for is I recently had an idea as an example, and I put it into Claude and kind of worked it through. Then I took it and I put it in Chat, and I said, is this a 10 out of 10 idea? And that's a question I ask a lot. Is this a 10 out of 10? And they'll say, oh, it's a 9.2 because of this. And then I put it on Claude. Is this a 10? Oh, this is, it keeps on giving me suggestions. It keeps on giving me suggestions and to kind of keep willing it down. Okay, let's go and talk about companies some more. Just wanted to talk a little bit of fundamentals for a little bit, get people kind of warmed up. How do companies, so again, we're recording this, people could listen to this 3 years from now, but we're recording this and this is going live in May of 2026. What do companies need to do by the end of 2026 when it comes to their company? And if you want, we can talk about a specific company or just a generic company. What do they really need to start putting in place with AI so they can work, faster, more effectively, be more productive? Because what seems to be happening is companies who are utilizing it the right way are working 4 years in 1 year. That doesn't mean they're stressing people out more. That doesn't mean that they're working with extra urgency. They're just working smarter. What do companies need to be doing?
Great question. I think there's two things that I would want to focus on. And one is going to be contrary to a revolution when you feel you're missing out on the revolution. One thing a company has to do is go slow to go fast. Okay. And so before you get in on the hype of I'm going to buy a black box solution from a software company that doesn't understand my business, but may be industry relevant, is going to solve my problems. Make sure you understand your problems and do that evaluation, do that business process mining, right? Don't dive into the solution before you really understand the problem. It's very similar to our process on event storming and meeting with departments to understand what is the biggest problem within an organization. So I think companies can go slow to go fast. And once they hit that terminal velocity, they will never go slower. right? You will hit terminal velocity and only continue to raise the speed at which you operate. I think the second is to not worry about pivoting pilots. The purpose of a pilot software implementation is to fail fast. It's not to succeed the first time. That is not a pilot. A pilot is to fail fast, understand what worked and what didn't work, what has to be pivoted, and then make those changes in near real time so you don't lose valuable dollars. You don't lose valuable opportunity costs, right? And so I think if organizations were really focused on let me try to fail as fast and as concrete as possible in the AI realm to move faster elsewhere. That's what I would say businesses need to be doing.
Okay. Can we dive into, can I give you a couple examples? Can I give you, name some companies and you could say, here's what I would maybe think about doing. Okay.
Absolutely.
The insurance business. How should the insurance business be looking at AI today and using it?
So the insurance business would benefit from hyper automation, which is under the AI umbrella, as well as intelligent document processing. In order to move, the insurance business has a lot of legacy systems that require duplicative data entry, that require a lot of manual downloads and movement of information between systems that they can't accelerate. Robotic process automation and intelligent document processing allow computers to read reports, read statements, commission statements, ledgers, etc., and then move them into the appropriate system for action to be taken. And so that's where I find the insurance industry would benefit.
Okay. So how do they get started on that?
How do they get started? First, again, a discovery process of where is their biggest pain, right? Or is it loading commissions? Is it doing illustrations? Is it gathering medical records, right? Where is the pain point, right? What is overstaffed? What is understaffed? Where are the bottlenecks in that process? And once we understand where the bottleneck is, we try and remove that bottleneck. If people want to go out and read on the theory of constraints, it's very much find your constraint, understand where your limit is, and then free the constraint.
Yeah, it's great. The real estate business.
Real estate is about a lot of data mining, in my understanding, and data flow. And so data analytics and data warehousing to evaluate property trends within real estate, or within properties or within their own portfolio to either target new buyers or renters or lease opportunities. Data mining and data analytics would be great for the real estate space.
Legal space.
Legal space, I think it's about the consolidation of documents. I don't see that AI is at the point where it's generating legal documents, but it could be used for the organization and validation of documents, as well as being a proofreader to catch or question or challenge edits within a contract. I've been dealing with my own attorneys on contracts, and it's helpful to just have someone else be able to explain something to me so I could have a more meaningful and constructive conversation with my attorney.
What do you do? Because again, I just want to chat about AI being a tool, not always perfect.
Correct.
There are many, many cases where it's pulling, the wrong legal cases. It's pulling the wrong, you can, off of a document, it's mixing things up. How do you inspect what you expect when it comes to AI, knowing it's just a tool, it's not perfect?
Sure. I think it's the having the curiosity of a child, right? It's not having the knowledge of a grandfather, but the curiosity of a child. So when something is presented to you, make sure you're using other AI search engines, do your own research, determine if it smells right, challenge and prompt the large language model for things that you don't believe, and get into arguments with AI to have it really produce and cite its sources to understand where that information is coming from. You could always take that information and go to Google and traditionally search and see what that finds as kind of a double or triple check. I can assure you, I've never walked into a contract negotiation with anyone without having an attorney tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about, and you mentioned this a little bit, off the shelf tools, using custom tools, getting custom tools. My first question is if I get a custom tool today built for my company, by the time it's done being built, is it obsolete? I mean, I say that half jokingly, but what is the shelf life? And I think sometimes companies are saying, I'm just using this as an example, well, this costs 30 grand, but if I pay 100 grand to get something custom, it may be obsolete. I think there's confusion around that. So can you kind of articulate how people should be thinking?
Obsolescence affects shelf product as fast as it affects custom product, right? If the solution you're building is going to not be relevant in a certain period of time, you might not have defined the problem correctly, and you might not have selected the right solution. Going with a shelf product like a Salesforce, for example, you're limited to their release schedule. And so you're tied into a licensing cost that will last forever versus one where you can control the level of spend. I don't believe that custom software goes obsolete any faster than the shelf product that's out there. I believe what's important is you want to own the business process, right? You don't want to buy based on the latest features. You want to buy based on the solution to your problem. And then innovate around those problems, right? You want a tool that's going to evolve with your business as you see your business start to move faster.
What is the shelf life? Two questions, a double question. A, what is the shelf life of a product that you create? Hard question to answer, but really the most important question is as you create it, can people continue to just upgrade that without starting from scratch?
So, I think the shelf life of software is likely measured in, so the investment in custom product is likely measured in months at this point. AI has changed the game. You're no longer building a traditional piece of software for 2 years with some big bang release that you hope to get benefit from while the industry has moved from beneath you. What happens is now with vibe coding and AI assisted software development, you could expect to build custom software in 3 to 6 months, but start to receive material benefit within month 1 or 2. You then have the ability to stop investment, continue to receive a reasonable return on investment, and then resume when appropriate. Again, it gives you the ability to say, my biggest problem might be finance today, but marketing in 2 months. And the custom product will allow you to get your solution in place for finance in 2 months and then move to marketing.
So talk to me about this. So a company is looking at implementing AI, right? Building out custom AI. Are these additional expenses or additional investments, or are they taking money from somewhere else that they don't have to spend over here and they're moving it, or a combination of both?
It's really a combination of both. I think that when you look at it, if you're looking at implementing an AI-based tool that's going to be complementary, You can take it, you can look at it from the investment necessary to grow the business. If I need to add 5 employees to help this department grow, you're either going to spend the money on those 5 employees or a software to help implement it. So it's that, or, depending on the cost savings, you're going to want to look for tools that could either drive revenue opportunity, right? So you increase the amount of revenue, or cut cost.
Yeah.
Depends on the mindset the business is in.
So there is, a saying I think that we all love: build it, and if you build it, they will come.
Yes.
Some of the things I am hearing within companies is that they build it, they buy it, they get it. There's a demand that people want it. And then people don't come as fast. They're not using it as fast as they thought that people would, whether it's sales teams, leadership teams, just people in general, everybody working within an organization. The adoption rate, I want to talk about that. The adoption rate internally after a company has invested, bought, customized, curated, found the problem. Now there's the rollout.
Yes.
The rollout to educate people on this new pattern, a new habit that they maybe need to add on to their day-to-day, how to use it, maybe a little bit differently than they had in the past, a different step or two or more, how to infuse it into their day, how to sell it internally, externally if needed. And so just talk about that piece, because I think that's the piece where I think companies are getting a little bit surprised, right? Everybody's excited. They're getting feedback from the collective of an organization. We need this, we need this, we need this. Okay, we fall in love with the problem. We build it, we get it, we buy it. Not enough people are using it. How do companies need to be addressing that very, very important issue?
Absolutely. So I think a place we are now in 2026 that we've never been is the ability to build proof of concepts and prototypes that can get into the hands of users faster. I'll give you an example. I implemented a solution for a medical practice that was going to be the cat's meow. It was going to solve all of their problems. And we rolled it out. And we originally had great buy-in. And then we got feedback that it was only helping the 20%, not the 80%.
Right.
And so what we had to do was, regular meetings for user adoption and training and socialization of the solution. 2, we had to fail quickly. Yeah. Identify, what? We actually missed the target slightly. It wasn't a failure. It was a miss. And now that we're expanding or redefining what needs to be solved for, we're now able to provide greater value without going back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
Right. So if you think about building a tool that's going to accelerate your sales team's proposal creation capability, and you find out that of your sales team of 5, 1 person is using it, it might be their aptitude and interest in technology. B, it might be because they sell large industrial widgets to a specific kind of company that tool builds for. And so you have to go back and redefine the problem statement and then make sure it's addressing the entire problem statement.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back to what I alluded to earlier. The more discovery you could do on the front end with prototyping and proof of concepts, the better the result you will have.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to have a pilot fail because it's not a failure. It's a failure when you stop trying to solve the problem.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, and I'll add the rollout, the training, the education to the collective is really important. One of my favorite books that I read many years ago, probably 25 some years ago, Crossing the Chasm by Jeffrey Moore. There is there's the early adopter, the innovators and the early adopters, and then there's the rest of the people. And it takes a lot longer sometimes to get people to to hop on board. So, anybody who's in business today needs to be onboarding, training, and that is a continual process. All right, this was a great talk about AI. So if someone is listening to this and they called you, what's step one for them for that? What does that conversation sound like?
Step one sounds like a very business-centric conversation, maybe similar to a therapy session on there's clearly a pain point you have.
Yeah.
And there's clearly a problem you think could be solved. And I want to hear in plain business language what that problem is and where you are in your journey, right? Because I think businesses are in two states of mind. One, I've invested in AI and I'm not getting the results. Why? Or I'm thinking about investing in AI. Where do I invest?
Yeah.
Right. And so it would be a conversation with understanding which camp they're in, and then understanding, do they know the problem they need solved? Or would they like a broader understanding and a catalog of many problems they can solve in order to prioritize? And so we've worked with many businesses that say, here's my problem, solve X, and we're able to solve X. We have many clients that say, I don't know what my problems are. Can you give me a list of them? And we do that approach. Both work for us.
All right, good. All right, quick speed round. If you could have coffee with anybody, living or dead, who would it be, and what would you ask them?
Living or dead? I'm honestly most fascinated with Michael Singer and his approach on mindfulness and spirituality and the noise in the brain. I think that his example of
the surrender experiment, right, Mike?
The surrender experiment, the surrender experiment, and the untethered soul.
Untethered soul, yeah, those are great books. Yeah,
he gives a great example that's very similar to AI and where we are today, about walking into a warehouse and shining the light on a part of the warehouse. Why does the light shined on that portion make us more upset than the fact that we can't see everything else in the warehouse? Yeah. And I think it's very relevant, right? Why is the thing we're looking at right now the most upsetting when we should broaden our view to see what lies out there?
Yeah, I love it. Book that's made a big impact on you. I mean, we just talked about one, but is there another book that's made a big impact?
So I Fierce Conversations by Susan Scott is another one. And I think it's what I try and train my staff on every day. But I think one of her 7 principles is let silence do the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
And so
that's great.
Sometimes we just have to stop and hear let the silence bring up what's relevant.
Oh, that's great. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received from a mentor?
Best piece of wisdom I've ever received. I was struggling 20 years ago, and I had a therapist say to me, I believe you. And I'll tell you something, it was the most validating experience I've ever had, because someone was just like, I get it. You're not crazy. Yeah. I believe that you are experiencing that. And it's just very, it's very comforting.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes we just need a little validation. Yeah.
That's right.
That's great. That's great. Finish this sentence. Last question. One thing everybody needs to do today to grow their AI skill set and or their business is
to begin meta prompting with every large language model out there, to learn and absorb ways to think more creatively and in a bigger fashion than you're currently capable of.
Tell everybody where they can connect with you, learn more about you, and who your ideal clients are, Michael.
Great. You can connect with me at www.proactivemgmt.com. My email address is mweinberger@proactivemgmt.com. My ideal client, I focus on the SMB space. So it's typically going to be customers between 10 employees and thousands of employees that are focused on solving problems, leveraging software and AI, whether that be data strategy, hyperautomation, generative AI, or agentic AI.
It's great. Michael, this was great. I enjoy your insights and your guidance and everything that you shared today. I think it's really, really important today for people to do the following: spend 1 to 5 minutes a day using AI. There are still a lot of people who are afraid of it, who don't use it, who think it's just not gonna be helpful. I mean, there's a tons of reasons. That being said, the train is not stopping, and AI is here, and it's going to be more in our lives every single day. It's been around for a long time. It's just more relevant and in front of us and for the daily user today. But I really do believe that for every minute to 5 minutes a day you use it, you start to see a new world open up and new opportunities. And for me, I use it every day, all the time. I love it. But I think one of the important things is that it allows me to access a part of my brain that sometimes I have an idea sitting there that I can't retrieve, and it helps me get to it. And I think it's great. And if everybody kind of subscribes to that, or for those who do, there's ideas back there that are going to change the world for everybody. So allow it to kind of be an executive assistant and something that can help you. I know you're doing great work within companies to really just, make them so much more productive. So thanks for what you do. We'll have to have you back and talk more AI. But everybody, thank you so much for listening. You can reach Michael at proactivemgmt.com. And if you want to chat about any business coaching, you can reach me at johndwoskin.com. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.